Goodness gracious, bro. We've been walking for like 30 minutes. Where in the world is this football stadium, man? Come on, little Russ. Let's go ask those guys over there real quick, man. Hey, do y'all know where the football stadium is?
The battle begins!
Okay. All right. Thanks, man. Remind me to never come to Disney World again.
You don't want none! You don't want none!
What's going on, Tar Heel Nation? It is your favorite North Carolinian, Russ, the Tar Heel, and welcome to Week 4 of the 2025 college football season. Carolina's going to take a little trip down to Disney World, and we're going to be playing the Central Florida Knights, dude. They apparently take offense to that, man, so much so that after Bill called them Central Florida, apparently they want to be called UCF. They started commenting on all their X pages, Beat North, man. So I think that's pretty comical, man. Pretty silly. But anyway, really quick, dude, before we dive into this thing, if you would do me a favor, man, do me a solid, double check, and make sure that you were subscribed to the channel. A lot of people watch the videos and everything from all over the country, man, and they don't even realize that they're not subscribed. So do me a favor. Just verify that you're subscribed to the channel. Hit that notification bell so that you're, notified every time that this Tar Heel makes a video pertaining to Carolina football or basketball. Now, what else? What other reason why you want to make sure that you're subscribed to this channel, okay? This Thursday night, before the Carolina UCF game, we were supposed to have the $175 score prediction and call-in show, okay? Stay with me, all right? Well, I've decided to tack on the $325 pot that we were at the end of last year, and we're going to make that stinking pot $500.
Oh, behave.
So this Friday night, 9:30, that's what we're shooting for. I apologize for the lateness, but one day I won't be a working man. 9:30 call-in show. The only criteria to win the $500 is 1, you must be a subscriber to the channel, and 2, you got to call into the show so that we can lock in your score prediction in front of the stinking country, okay? We can chat it up for a couple of minutes about the game, or you can just call in and give me your score prediction. Either one is perfectly fine, okay? If you guess the correct score of the North Carolina UCF game, I'm going to send you $500 cash, man. And that obviously goes up every week, $25 when no one wins the prize money. And we're just going to keep going, and we're going to keep going, and we're going to keep going, dude, until somebody gets that daggum score prediction right. So check and make sure that you're subscribed to the channel for me to make sure that you're eligible, and be here Friday night for the call-in show. Live reaction and watch party Saturday, September 20th at about 3:20 p.m. Eastern, man. I'll be coming home from Little Russ's football game, dude. So come hang out with your boy as the Heels visit Disney World and try to take over Mickey's castle, or whoever's stinking castle it is. Now, the Heels and Knights have never actually met on the gridiron. They were supposed to have a home-and-home series back in 2018 and 2020. However, Hurricane Florence and COVID pushed those games to the right. Obviously, Carolina and UCF played this Saturday. UCF will return the favor by visiting Chapel Hill September 4th of 2027. Now, UCF plays at Acrisure Bounce House Stadium, which seats about 48,000 currently, according to UCFKnights.com. And, interesting fact is that they set a record attendance of 48,453 when the Knights hosted the Miami Hurricanes back in 2009. Now, if you're a UCF fan, obviously you know that Scott Frost has returned to the sidelines, and he has directed the Knights to an early 2-0 start with a comeback victory, if you will, over Jack State at home, 17-10, before blowing the brakes off of North Carolina A&T 68-7. And boy, do they look like two completely different football teams, man. I watched the game film on both of those games, and it looks literally like two different football teams. And coming off of a bye and 2 weeks of Carolina prep, they should be ready to roll. And this will be the first real test, if you will, of the Scott Frost 2.0 era. At 6'4", 212 pounds, starting quarterback Taven Jackson has completed 64.4% of his passes this year, 471 yards, 2 touchdowns, and no interceptions. He does also have 2 rushing touchdowns on the ground. Not necessarily a dual threat guy, but somebody that you definitely have to account for in the run game, because he does have the ability to score, to, you know, get out there and make some things happen with the legs that the defense is lacking. The Knights' leading rusher is 5'10", 185-pound senior running back Jaden Nixon, who has 150 yards and 2 touchdowns on only 6 carries. But all of it came against North Carolina A&T. The guy that's getting most of the totes is senior Miles Montgomery, who has 114 yards on 29 touches, which is only good for 3.9 yards per carry, and he doesn't have any touchdowns on the ground right now. But Montgomery can move, dude, so he's somebody that Carolina's going to have to account for in the rush game for sure, man. He's made a huge impact in the receiving department. He's got 4 catches for 103 yards. So this is a guy that you definitely need to pay attention to, especially out of the backfield in the pass game. And their leading receiver is 5'8", 175-pound wide receiver Dwayne Thomas Jr., who has 7 catches for 117 yards and no touchdowns to this point. Initially, my thought process that this would be a game that the Hills should be able to win due to the talent on the roster, and I really did think that at the beginning of the season. I personally thought that Scott Frost was going to need some time to get some things fixed down there at Disney World, and that seemed to really be the case as they needed a fourth quarter drive with a minute left to overcome Jack's State. But then they, like I said, they flipped the script, and then they blew the doors off the Aggies a week later, man. So who stinking knows what this UCF team really has at this point? Now, the Heels are led by head coach Bill Belichick, who is currently 2-1 in his young college coaching career. It's funny to talk about, man. He's 70-something years old, and we're talking about his young college coaching career. There's been some steady progression from week to week on both sides of the football. And, despite the noticeable improvement, however, there are still questions that are lingering about the quarterback position. It's a very polarizing topic, if you will, amongst Tar Heel Nation. Now, the leading passer is the 6', 203-pound sophomore quarterback Gio Lopez, who right now is only completing 58.5% of his passes for 343 yards, 3 touchdowns, and 1 interception. He's also rushed for 74 yards and a touchdown on the ground. Gio's only averaging 139 yards of total offense per game, which is 114 passing and 25 rushing. We haven't really heard anything from the top, if you will, insinuating that there's going to be any type of movement in the quarterback room or some type of short leash. However, like I said, man, there are those in the fan base that are growing, shall I say, a bit restless. I posited the question this week about when Tar Heel Nation would make a change if Gio wasn't playing well, and about 60% of those polled said they were going to give Gio a half to show he's the guy, and then the second most was to give him just a quarter, and if he isn't making things happen, we're going to have to stink and make a change, man. And ironically enough, there were 13% at one time that said, no matter what, we're going to ride Gio until the stinking wheels fall off.
What?
Which is absolutely bonkers to me. But we are all entitled to our opinions, if you will, man. So I appreciate the fans voting for the question of the week. Now, the Heels have found a real stinking diamond in the rough, apparently, with true freshman running back Damon June, who has rushed for 200 yards on the dot on only 23 carries. That's 8.7 yards per carry and a touchdown, and that is in 2 football games. He didn't get any totes in the first game against TCU. And as an 18-year-old young man, the burst that he's shown has been a breath of fresh air, man. He just looks different than anyone else in that running back room right now. And Carolina's leading receiver is sophomore wide receiver Jordan Shipp, who has 149 receiving yards on 10 catches with 2 touchdowns. Both of those TDs were against Richmond. So now that we've looked at the individual statistics, man, let's also take a look at the average stats so far this year for both teams. And we'll start off with Carolina, man. Carolina's averaging 25 points per game, and UCF, courtesy of that 68-7 whooping over North Carolina A&T, is averaging 43. Carolina's giving up 19 points per game, and the Knights are only giving up 9. Carolina is only averaging 279 yards of total offense right now to UCF's 491, and Carolina is giving up 337 yards of total offense compared to UCF's 241. If not for the TCU game, Carolina's numbers would probably look very similar defensively against, at least against both teams, because obviously UCF's only played lower level competition, and 2 out of 3 of Carolina's opponents have only played lower level competition as well, man. So now that we've looked at the individual and team statistics, man, let's go ahead and get into Russ's 3 keys to victory, starting with the North Carolina Tar Heels. Key number 1, man, Carolina has got to start fast. Key to any football game when you're playing on the road, honestly. But UCF blew the absolute brakes off of the doors of the Aggies' car, man, early, scoring 28 points in the first quarter. Kick return for a touchdown, strip sack for a touchdown, and 2 quarterback runs on RPOs for 6. Well, 6 plus 2 would be 12. So Carolina cannot get down big early down in Orlando, man, okay? Disney World's going to be stinking rocking. We already know that we don't have the offensive firepower through 3 games to be playing catch-up. So Carolina's got to start fast, man, and they really do need to be playing from ahead as opposed to playing from behind. Key number 2, got to be resilient, man. Carolina's defense has been outstanding against lower-level competition, and they even looked really good in the first 12 minutes of the TCU game until that PI called on Marcus Allen changed the confidence of the defense, and then that TCU game just spiraled fast. The defense has to bring the same juice that they had against Charlotte and Richmond if Carolina's going to beat the Knights down in Orlando, man. They can't let a couple of bad calls go to their head. We have got to be a resilient football team and play all the way through. And key number 3, man, feed the demon, or feed the demon, if you will, okay? Or we'll just call him Juju, man. That makes more sense. Juju has only played in 2 games, and he has clearly looked like the most talented back on the roster, like I was saying a couple of minutes ago, with the ball in his hands, bro. Averaging close to 9 yards per carry. The Heels need to get Demond his touches, at least 20 in this football game. Establish the daggum run, shorten the game, and let Juju eat. Juju's got to eat, man, if Carolina's going to get the W in this football game. And now, 3 keys to victory for UCF. Key number 1, make Gio be the hero. Like I mentioned earlier, man, Gio Lopez is only averaging 139 yards of total offense per game. Damon June is averaging almost 9 yards per carry. If I'm UCF, if I'm Scott Frost, I am heavy in the box, and I'm daring Gio Lopez to beat me with his arm. He has not passed for more than 155 yards or accounted for more than 199 yards of total offense in a game this season. So I am daring him to beat me with his arm. Key number 1 for UCF, man, make Gio be the hero. Key number 2, dock the ship. Wide receiver Jordan Shipp is clearly Gio's favorite target with 10 catches and almost 150 yards with 2 touchdowns. I would assign my best cover corner over the top of him and make sure that a second guy is aware of ship at all times in the passing game, as the Heels are seemingly limited, if you will, thus far with pass catchers. Chris Culliver's only got 4 catches. Green has 6. Jake Johnson, the tight end's only got 4. If you can blanket Jordan Ship, the Heels offense becomes even more one-dimensional than it already is. Key number 2, man, Doc, this Ship. And key number 3, haymaker early. The style of offense that Bill Belichick and the Carolina Tar Heels seem to want to play is a very NFL-ish style, okay? If you can jump on the heels early and make Freddie Kitchens play catch-up in his play calling, it's really going to be an uphill battle for this Carolina offense to come back, man. I'm trying to get in their heads, try and make the Heels cast doubts early, throw haymakers, bro. See if you can jump out like you did against A&T and, take their heart early. Test that resilience, man, if you're UCF. Now, it's time for my favorite part of the show, the score prediction portion, okay? But before I let you guys know my 2 cents, let's look at the leaderboard where you can see that my boy Hutch is a perfect unblemished 3-0. I'm 2-1, and the Sim and Fan Poll is also 2-1. So, speaking of Hutch, let's go ahead and bring in the walking college football encyclopedia himself, our favorite Yinzer and honorary Tar Heel. What you got for us in week 4, Hutch?
What's going on, Tar Heel Nation? It is Hutch the Yinzer, your favorite Yinzer, coming to you with the week 4 fearless prediction. I moved to 3-0 undefeated a quarter of the way through the season by predicting UNC to defeat the Richmond Spiders last week. And I'm looking to get to 4-0 this week as your Tar Heels take on the UCF Knights. This is an incredibly difficult game to predict because UCF, yes, they're 2-0. Their wins are against suspect competition at best. They won their opener 17-10 against Jacksonville State, a team that most of their roster and their head coach is elsewhere, and they obliterated NCAA in week 2, 68-7. They're averaging 42.5 points a game, good for 23rd in the FBS. They're giving up 8.5 points a game, good enough for 9th in the FBS. Again, those are both against very suspect competition. Scott Frost does return as head coach, so I do believe they will be very disciplined and well coached. One thing I'll say, as someone who's played in very humid conditions in Florida and places like that, it's a different animal. It does take a toll on your conditioning, which could be a factor if you're not ready and prepared for it. Going forward, man, this is, again, tough. I'm not sold on the Tar Heel offense yet. I think Gio is not the answer for a multitude of reasons. I don't think he's processing information well. I don't think he's making the proper reads, and I think his throws oftentimes, even when there's not pressure, are not accurate enough. He's making terrible throws when not under duress. That being said, I think one of the biggest things that the Tar Heels have missed is Omarion Hampton, and there's not somebody that has stepped up and at least taken some of that production at a consistent rate. Defense has been very good. I've been impressed. Yes, the last two teams they played were not top par competition, but you only given up 9 points. I thought they played very well in the first half against a very good TCU team. So if that can continue, that keeps them in a lot of games. So, yeah, who the hell's calling me, man? Hold on. Hello? Hey, Coach Corso, what's going on, man? How you been? How's retirement? Yeah? Okay. No, man, I was making my weekly pick for the Tar Heel Huddle, man. Just like perfect timing. So, what do you think of UNC and UCF, man? Are you going to be there? I mean, it is in Orlando. Okay. Yeah, I agree with that. I definitely agree with that. Okay. Hey, not so fast, my friend, on that one. Okay. But all right. So, are you putting on the Ramsey's head? Do you have a Ramsey's head there? I mean, I don't have one. I agree with you, man. I just don't have one. All right. So you're taking the Heels? Okay. All right, brother. Hey, Coach, it was great to talk to you, man. Just wanted to make one more pick. I'm flattered you chose to do it with me, brother. Enjoy retirement, boss. I'll be hollering at you. So there it is, man, Coach Corso. And you guys couldn't hear that, but Coach Corso is going to put on the Ramsey's head. He has taken the Heels, as am I. I think this is going to be, again, sort of a grinded out game. I think this is going to be a 24-13 game, UNC. I don't know where the 6.5 point line is coming from, but I think this defense is good enough to kind of curtail an unknown as far as the UCF offense that only put up 17 points against a decent opponent in Jacksonville State. So that being said, I'm taking the Heels 24-13 for the win, and hopefully I'm right. Go Heels.
So there you have it, baby. Hutch is picking the Heels to win this one and hold the Knights to 13 points. I'm not going to lie, bro. That's super interesting to me. I appreciate you, Hutch. Now, if you guys can remember in the sim, the Heels dropped this one 34-23. Carolina was down 31-16 at the half. They outscored the Knights only 7-3 in the second, but obviously that just wasn't enough in the end. The fan poll is still really confident in the Heels, man, as 68% of you are taking Carolina to come out on top in this one with 167 individuals polled. So I really appreciate you guys for the participation. And, it makes me kind of wonder, where I am, because that's pretty confident, man. That's pretty confident. And lastly, the ESPN matchup indicator gives the Knights an 83.2% chance at beating the Heels, and Carolina only a 16.8% chance at beating UCF, with UCF currently 6.5 point favorites at the time of the making of this video, man. So you can see there's just, ideas everywhere, thoughts everywhere about how this thing is going to play out. Here's my stinking 2 cents. I had Carolina winning this football game early in my preseason prediction, but that was before I saw Carolina's offensive struggles over the last 3 weeks, and UCF dropped 68 on A&T. Carolina's defense has played much better against poor competition, but the Knights' offense looked extremely explosive against the Aggies, which is also poor competition. Something's got to stinking give, man. With Carolina just being kind of like really hammering down, the idea that, Gio is the quarterback, which I'm hoping that he plays very well. I'm just not sure that I can, I got to see it to believe it, if you will. I've got North Carolina in this game, 20, and UCF 27, man. UCF with the bye week, fresh legs, 2 weeks to scout UNC and prepare, man. And I think North Carolina is going to ride the stinking Geo train. Now, like I said, before everybody jumps on my stinking case, man, I cannot stress this enough. I want to win football games. I want Gio to be successful. I'm just kind of at the point where I have to see it to believe it. And I just can't, with what I've seen over the last 3 weeks currently, I just haven't seen anything, man, that just suggests that all of a sudden we're going to stink and flip this daggone switch, man. It's one of those ball games where if we stubbornly bang our heads against the wall for a half and let UCF run out to a really decent lead, if Gio doesn't play well, I can imagine he's going to be in the game for the majority of the time. By the time we do make a switch, if we even thought about doing that, I think it's going to be too little, too late at least for this football game. And I think we're going to continue to struggle in the passing game, man. I think Scott Frost knows that this Carolina team is one-dimensional right now with what we got, and it's going to get a little bit more difficult for Damon to get going, and very few points will be scored. I think Taven Jackson does just enough in the air to take a 2-possession lead into the half. And the Carolina defense plays valiantly. They play well, but they're on the field a lot again, dude, because Carolina's offense just can't sustain drives. Carolina scores a late touchdown maybe to make it a 1-possession game, make it a little bit more respectable, but it's too little too late, and the final score looks a little bit closer than what the actual game entailed, man. And it becomes blatantly obvious what needs to be done headed into ACC play. I could be wrong. I sure hope that I'm wrong. But we'll see how it all stinking unfolds on Saturday. Don't forget, man, $500 cash. Who in the world could have used that, dude? I legitimately think that you're off your daggum rocker if you can't even stop by for a stinking 5 minutes, hell, 5 seconds to give me a daggum score prediction for that kind of money, man. You don't have to be a Tar Heel. You don't have to be a UCF fan. Anyone is eligible to call in and win. So let's chop it up down in the comment section, Tar Heel Nation and college football family. You already know it's a great day to be a Tar Heel, baby. And I'll catch you on the next one. Go Heels.